So we are going to start off by talking about getting our book from just an idea, how we might write it, the ways to write a book, how to get materials, how to move the materials in, to actually building the structure of your book and getting into editing. So I mentioned before, if you ever want to do anything, you start in the conductor. We talked about editing properties before and managing your team. At the end of your book writing experience, you might want to use the AI co-author. That AI co-author can write your alt text for you. It can assign metadata such as page summaries, and it can assign tags, which will build an index for you. LibreTexts will automatically build an index for you of which pages cover which tag topics. And then you can also access your remixer and any of your peer reviews. So once your book is published, you can have people who will submit peer reviews of your book, and then you can bring them back. That's not something that we control at LibreTexts. We have one peer review up there, and people can just bring them back. People can submit however you want. But the main thing to remember is whatever is on the front of your book, whatever is on the website, that's controlled by what's behind the scenes in the conductor. So we did talk already about prep work, having a plan, finding the resources, and all of that. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about building that material so you're ready to publish those things into one of the three areas of the libraries. Some of these slides are repeated just because I moved from one topic to the other. So we have the textbook map, and we did talk about those three different ways to find materials. These are all my screenshots I keep just in case the internet goes down. So OER licensing. LibreTexts is the only platform I know of that actually keeps track of licensing for you. So if you are using someone else's materials in your book, if you take one page of someone else's book and you put it into your book, then the OER remixer will take care of that attribution for you. So you can see that this page has one name and a license, and it's by somebody, and it has material from some other page in LibreTexts, and that has that license and that author from that other person. So it can take care of all that licensing, attribution, and sourcing for you, so you don't need to worry about it. That's the power of the remixer. It's much more difficult then for you to take an OpenStax page from OpenStax, use it in your LibreTexts book, and then try to cite it. It's much easier to have us harvest all of that OpenStax book into our library, so then you can just remix it over, because then we'll take care of all that attribution for you. You will set your authoring on your own page. That way, if anybody uses your page, then they'll have that attribution as well. And you set that on a page-by-page basis, also on a book-by-book level. All that OER, all that licensing is taken care of. In addition, we also, that's just talking about how you do the licensing. In addition, we also have paragraph-by-paragraph licensing. So if you get into the advanced state where you just want to use one person's paragraph or one person's example problem, you can actually move that back into your book. And if you do it in the proper way, which I'm not going to talk about now, but I'll talk about that later this week, that will automatically keep track of that licensing. So here's an example of a page that only has content from one other page. And this page has content from two other pages in LibreTexts. I think we're the only platform out there that has paragraph by paragraph attributions automatically taken care of. So when you make your textbook map, it's perfectly fine for you to have pages that are by you and pages that are by other people, or pages that are by you with just paragraphs by other people. All of that's perfectly fine. But at this point, we kind of are going to branch off to thinking about whether you're authoring entirely or you're just adopting someone else's book. I'm going to give you the answer of you should really honestly just think of both of those as remixes, because even if you're completely adopting one other person's book, you might as well make a remix of it, because then it's your version of it and you can even freeze it in time, or you can modify it whenever you want to. Otherwise, if you decide at, like, let's say week 5 that you really want to change chapter 6, you can't do that if it's someone else's book. But if you have a copy of that book, a remixed copy, your copy of the book, you can go ahead and change that page on the fly. So you might as well just make a copy of it today, and it's much easier to do. Plus, then it's easy to embed things in your LMS, your screen readers. You can get print, and it'll have all of the things that are current and relevant to your book. So let's go ahead and learn how you add those pages, how to move those pages around, and how to make completely brand new, fresh pages in our Remixer. So we're going to go to the conductor. We ended last time with this little project here. This is the link to your book. If you click on it, it should show you your book. If you haven't logged into your library yet today, then you have to log into your library. You don't have to put your password in, you just have to click login. We have a single sign-on, but you still have to just let the library know who you are. So if you click on that login with Libre 1, you'll get the black bar with your name on it. I always just close that tab once it's logged in and then click on the project again. The reason it doesn't just show you your book is because your book's not published yet. So you can't see it unless you're logged in. So you just have to log in. Once you're logged in, you'll have a book. It'll have a front matter, a back matter, and a first chapter. If you click on the contents, you have the front matter, the back matter, and just one page first chapter. We are going to call this just an empty book. This is an empty book, right? It's just the front cover and the back cover. You can't just make a copy of someone else's book because your front cover and back matter will be different than their front matter and back matter. And if you want to know why, it's because we use the front matter and the back matter to do some magic when we publish to make sure all the pages come together right. How does it go from project to book? Were you at the last session, Dana? That was when you click that create book button. If you have an open project link here, if you don't have an open project book link here, it should be a create book button. All right. So once you've got your empty book, it's great. It's wonderful. Now we want to put stuff in it. And by stuff, I mean anything, whether it's stuff you're going to write or it's stuff that's coming from somewhere else from your textbook map. So we're going to click on the Open OER Remixer. It's probably the next thing over, Open OER Remixer. If you clicked this and you got like some gray bar at the top and it says demonstration mode or something like that, that is because you are not logged into the library. Once again, you need to make sure you're logged into the library before you try to use any of these tools. The new OER Remixer is a little better at that than the old one. So here we have two panels. Let's first pretend for chapter 1, and you guys can all do this with me. This is just our practice book. It's just a template. We're not making our real book right now. This is our draft. We're going to first just build a fake book. So I'm going to first turn my first chapter, double click that, and I'm going to change the name of this to LibreTexts is cool. Okay. So I've made this new page for my book, and I'm going to save my edits. Now that title of the chapter is LibreTexts is cool. Notice that it is now yellow, right? Oh, yes. Sorry, Dana. I didn't realize that one. So LibreTexts is cool. Yellow means we have not touched the contents of the page, but we have changed the name of the page. So before first chapter was just a blank page, it's still a blank page, but now the name has changed, so it's now yellow. If you're I'm in the contents page. So from the project properties page, so the project page, this is where you click on Open OER Remixer. Brooke, just don't worry about deleting books in a project. Just make a whole new project. Go back to your conductor and make a whole new project. You can have a dozen new projects. I will say that as a professor for many years, I taught lots of people things. And then now in professional development, I teach lots of faculty. And the biggest difference I have between teaching those two people is that faculty always want to clean up after themselves. They're like, oh man, I would like to get rid of this and clean it up. Whereas students are like, whatever, moving on. I get asked to clean things up all the time, which is great. It means you guys are responsible. I really like that. Okay, so if you're in the OER Remixer, Then I have changed this page. Now I want to add some content to this page. So this is my chapter 1. I'm going to click the plus sign, which says new page. If I click a plus sign here, I get a subpage. All right. This is green, which means not only is this is a new page that will be created. It is a brand new page, green. If I go back and click on the LibreTexts is cool and press a plus sign, I now get a second new page. So now I've got section 1.1 and 1.2. Great. If I go up to the testing project, so the actual book itself, and press a plus sign, now I've gotten a new little chapter icon, and I can drag that up to be either a new first chapter, or I can make it a second chapter. Now, I'm going to zoom in a lot here because it's hard to see this sometimes. If I drag this, notice that that little arrow shows where you're going to drop it. So if I drop it here, it becomes the new chapter 1. If I drop it into 2.1, it becomes a sub of 2.1, or yeah, and then obviously chapter 2 became chapter 1. If I drop it after 1.2, it becomes 1.3. So by dragging and dropping, you can build the whole structure of your book from book to chapter to section to subsections. Okay. All by adding new pages. So feel free to do that, make your own little book. And now I'm going to go over to finding some other content that I want to add. On the left-hand side is our libraries panel. You probably can only see campus bookshelves, and learning objects. I can see all of the dirt underneath the hood. You guys can't, and that's okay. I'm going to go to the bookshelves. I'm going to go to general chemistry. And I'm going to go to OpenStax. And I'm going to go open this chapter 2. How did I know where to go? Well, let's go into something from earlier today. This person was looking for the beta blockers from earlier today. So they were in the health library, which is called the med library. It used to be the medicine library, but then we changed it to health because it's much more broad than just medicine. But it still has the name med there. This is the bookshelves. This is nursing. This is pharmacology for nurses OpenStax. And this is 17.3. Let's find that book together. After I do this one, I'm going to add my molecules anyway, just because I want to. Okay. I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to choose the health library, which is the medicine library. I'm sorry to the people in the health and nursing and medicine. You're going to see the name medicine and health switch back and forth quite a bit. Again, the page that I want is bookshelves, nursing, pharmacology for nurses, OpenStax, 17.3. Bookshelves. Where? Oh, now I've already forgot what I just said. Okay, yeah, it is nursing. Bookshelves, nursing, pharmacology for nurses. OpenStax, 17.3. Okay. So that's how you can add any book that you found from that textbook map into your remix, and you can drag and drop them and say, I would like this actually to be a section in chapter 3 and make your own order. Okay. You can also drag all of chapter 16 over. So you can drag over page by page, or you can drag over chapter by chapter. So far, so good. Question by Christina. I don't know how to. Okay, yeah, put it in the chat. If it's in the sandbox, I would come to office hours because me or someone else can help you, but you shouldn't even be able to see pages that are in the sandbox. If you want to create my own new info, yeah, exact. So these pages up here that are empty book pages, there's actually nothing in these. So those are blank pages ready for you to type whatever you want into it, put your own images into it, build all your own materials. So basically, again, we're having an empty book and we are now filling it with a skeleton. You will then go put the meat on that skeleton of your content later. These ones here that are brought in from somewhere else, those come in with the meat. Whereas these ones are just going to come in as empty pages that you will then need to flesh out. Okay, great. So this you will not need to. So the front matter, we will talk about that later when it gets towards the publishing standpoint. There's a lot of things that go into the last stages of publishing, but they're all should be done the very, very, very end. Don't worry about what I would call typically higher level things. Don't worry about your license or your alt text or who's the authoring team or your any of those things that have to go into the major ideas of the project. Do those at the very end. You can make notes of it, but those are much easier to do once you're all done with it. If you are, let me bring some of these up here. So if you want to find laboratory material versus textbook material, I would most definitely search for that before you get to the remixer stage. But in terms of like chemistry or biology, anything that's laboratory is going to be in the learning objects area. So there's a whole area here of laboratory experiments, dry lab and wet lab. Revising, let's get this one here. Revising existing OER pages from another author. We will take care of it for you, and I'm going to get to that after we do our breakout and we get a couple pages built. And then I'll come back and talk about that, and a lot of our editing will go into that. Great. Okay, we're going to do a breakout room. One more question. We're not putting info into the pages we created, but we can drag pages. Yes, this is just building the skeleton. Some pieces of your skeleton will come in with meat on them or content already. Some will not. And that's okay. We're going to talk about how you edit those pages or modify existing pages right after we do our breakout room. But I want everyone to have a book first. Robbie, go ahead and send a message to, go ahead and send it to Jennifer, and she might be able to help you. She's been helping people who might have some permission issues. But wait, before we go to breakout room, so here is the goal of the next breakout time. I want you to have some empty pages. I don't care how many. And I want you to have at least one book page that you've dragged and dropped in. I do not care if you are going to author your own book from scratch. Please just drag and drop one page in there so I can teach you something. So you have some practice. And even if you're never planning on authoring a single page in your life, please put one blank page into your book. That way you have one blank page that I can show you some cool stuff with and one page that's coming in from somebody else. And you'll know that things are ready to go when you click on Save to Server. It will give you a summary of what's going to happen. So 4 pages are not going to be changed. 2 pages are going to have their name changed, and 13 pages are going to be added. That sounds right. I tell people this is really just a sanity check. If you click on this and it says 4,000 pages will be added, you made a mistake, stop, go back. It should say something that's reasonable. This sounds reasonable. I'm going to click Save to Server one more time. The little blue bar is going to go across the screen. The little orange bar is going to have all the running activities that LibreTexts is doing for you. And note that some of these pages are being forked, and some of them are being transcluded, and some of them are new blank pages. Those words are going to become important after we're done with this process. Operations complete. Your new text is available here. You click on that. You have now a new book. In the contents, here's my LibreTexts is cool chapter, subchapter section. Here are my pages. My beta blockers is here. So I've got content, and then I've also got a blank page. I have met my learning objectives. One page that's blank and at least one that is empty. Don't worry about doing anything else at that point. You just want one blank page, one page that has somebody else's content on it. We'll come back and we'll talk about the rest of it afterwards. I'm going to put us in breakout rooms, and I'm going to make fewer than this time so that me, Amy, Josh, and Jennifer can hop around and visit as many rooms as possible. And I'm going to give us probably a decent amount of time, so at least 10 minutes this time, okay? So we have now remixed. So now that we've remixed something really basic, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the power of the remixer that I didn't cover. So there are different ways that you can copy pages. You will only be able to do what we call a copy transclude. So transclude is a word that we use that means we're going to include this page from somewhere else. Else means trans, right? Other. So you're going to copy something and include it from another place. The nice thing about transcluding is if there are any updates to that page, then your book will automatically have those updates. So if you want to make sure that content is as up to date as possible and you want to make sure any edits to that page come over, then you're going to be in great shape to just leave it as copy transclude. Let me show you the reason you might want to be, that you might have in your head to be worried. So for instance, in my demo, I took this page and I copied this one over, transcluded it into my book. I know that it's transcluded because if I go to this page in my book, it has this icon next to it. So this icon basically kind of looks like a little fork in the road. So this means that you can take this page and fork it if you want to, but it is not currently forked. If you are in the computer science world, the word fork is not new to you. It is like when you make a computer code and then you make a new, one version goes to this way and one version goes this, or someone works on fixing this bug while someone else works on fixing this bug. Those are different forks of the code, and that same exact terminology is used here. So you can fork that. But right now I know it's transcluded because it has that icon. If I go to one of my pages that is blank, this is content that's from scratch, so there is no little fork icon there. All right. You also will know that it is transcluded from somewhere else if you click on edit and you just get this random little decky script code thingy, and you get this little thing that says this is where this is originally from. So you can go look at that page. So that's, you can't edit the page. It has been transcluded from somewhere else. If you're okay with being transcluded from somewhere else because that book is good and you'd like to have whatever updates it gets, but you would like to know if it got updated, we have a way for you to do that. On any page that you want to know if it gets changed, you click on this little blue star and you would say either I want all pages and subpages of this book. So if you wanted to follow a whole entire book, or if you just want to follow this one page, you will now get an email every time this page is updated. That way you know that there's a content that might have changed in your book. And you can go look to see if it changed in a way that you cared. You can go and take a look at the revision history of a book page and see what things were changed by who at what time. So LibreTexts is not forcing you to just take whatever changes come your way without any knowledge on your behalf. It allows you to go ahead and know that there are changes that are happening so that you can go and review them to make sure they look okay for you. If you know for a fact that you took this page, but you want to rewrite the learning objectives, so you want to edit this page, then what you want to do is you want to fork this page so that you have your own version of it. You want to freeze it in time. You will get no more edits from the original. You will get your own. So you click on this little forker. It'll say, do you want to fork this page? You say yes. It'll take a few seconds. It'll say it's done. And then it will reload your page, and your page will have no more little forking icon. This gives you now a fully editable version of this page. Okay. It does keep track of, paragraph by paragraph, who was the original author of that paragraph. So you want to be sure that you don't try to edit new paragraphs in the middle of other paragraphs. So you see that little red box that keeps floating over here? If I want to make sure that I'm adding a paragraph in between here that is all authored by me and not the original author, I click on this to add a new paragraph. And I did add a new paragraph. If I instead put my cursor there and press enter, the computer thinks that we're continuing that paragraph. So I'll show you what that means in terms of attribution. I have my page that is from the other library. I can scroll down. I can see I've now edited it to have my 2 new paragraphs. And at the very bottom of the page, I have my attributions. Oh man, my attributions aren't working. This happens quite rarely. But I'm going to really quickly just do it in my other page. If I take book pages from very old books, this sometimes happens, where the attributions were not done correctly. That nursing book must be a pretty old book that's been up here for a long time. Yes, now I've got my toggle on here. So this is a newer book because it's mine. And we keep it up to date. Or actually, this is an OpenStax one. I'm going to do the exact same thing over again here, where I'm going to go to a paragraph. I'm going to press enter. New paragraph here. And I'm going to continue this paragraph here. Dana, if you're editing within a paragraph, then that's not your original paragraph, so it should be attributed to the original author. So the attribution of the original author still stands if you're just modifying a paragraph as opposed to running a whole new paragraph. Okay, I will answer the Christina questions in a second. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. Notice here it says this was originally from this book, and I'm going to click on toggle block attribution. So now I can see every paragraph and who it came from. Notice that the paragraph that came from the other paragraph, it still thinks, the computer thinks, that that was the other author's. Whereas this paragraph does not have any highlight because it's the author of the person who made this page, which is me. So this is where that paragraph by paragraph attribution works and why we have that little red thing that pops in there. Questions here. It's not letting me edit a forked page in my conductor view. I don't know what a conductor view is, George. This is an editor view. The conductor is this thing. And you can't see pages here. Oh, okay. If you're in the editor, you have to be in a book that you own, that you remixed. So if it's a book that you remixed and you don't have a fork here, then you should be able to edit it. If you're having issues, maybe stop by a table for some help in the editor one, because I'm not sure where that one is. Save to server first. If you're on the Remixer page, you do have to remix and then save to server to make it, for sure. For this one here, could you combine pages from 2 different existing OER in the libraries? Yes, you can. That is kind of an advanced editing technique, so it won't be covered in this session. Wait for later in the week. If you are, oops, that was that one. We already talked about that question. If you want to make edits to a page, but are also interested in changes to the original page that the authors make, look at the author's name and see if you can contact them. And if you don't know who the authors are or you don't know how to contact them, submit a support ticket or go to a connections forum and ask that question, does anybody know who wrote these pages? Because they're in charge of their book and we won't want to edit that without their permission if possible. If it's a glaringly bad error, we sometimes will make some exceptions, but typically we like to involve the author in any changes to their books. If your save to server takes a super long time, how many pages did you try adding at once? If you add more than just a couple I would never add more than maybe 2 or 3 chapters at once. If you tried adding about 20 or 15 chapters at once, it could take 20 minutes to run. I didn't mention that earlier, but yeah, try to keep it as close to short as possible. Otherwise, you might have to go back to your project and restart the remixer, which would not be fun, but shouldn't happen very often. Always save to server first. What other questions? These are all great. For Dana, the whether things come over as transcluded or not depends on the type of page. So in here, actually, I can't see it on here. In the book, if you bring it over as a chapter, then chapters will always be forked because they control what is underneath them. So think of it as kind of, you're going to have to create a folder, and that new folder has to have its own sections in it. So because this has subpages, they will always be forked. Pages that are that don't have anything underneath them will always be transcluded. We try to keep it as much as possible. Brooke, we're not going to talk about saving maps because we don't do those anymore. We only save to server. We saved to maps when the internet was so slow that we sometimes couldn't use the server. So then if your internet died, you could at least save it to your computer for later. But these days, the internet works well enough. Great. So we have about 10 minutes left. And what I'm going to do, take a look at some questions. This question here, I'm not sure if it was for this one. If you're at the Remixer, you click on your new text will be available here. And that will give you your text. And then you can use the contents bar on the left to go to whatever page you want to. Great. Okay, so I'm going to show a couple things real quick that do not need to concern you, but will make you happy. Right. George, we might have to see yours to see what you're talking about. Did you? Because it sounds like you have not forked your page yet. I didn't specifically say that, but if you're at a page in the book and you want to edit it, you click on the edit button at the top. All right. So if you are looking at your page, I'm going to show you this real quick because this should have launched this week, but it's not quite polished. We always like to make sure things are ready before everyone uses them. We are launching version 3 of the Remixer in short order. And I'm going to show it to you because it is actually nicer than the other one. So if we are here, this is what the new Remixer looks like. It still has, I'm going to see if I can increase the font a little bit. Okay, there we go. It has the bookshelves, but they're in like folders now. Little drop-down menus, a little bit easier. And I can still take sections and drag them over into my book. Still has the same highlights, green for new, yellow for change the number or the name. Still has a green button for adding one, deleting pages if you wanted to delete them. I didn't mention that before. It still has the button at the top that says save on the library. So we don't say save to server anymore, we save on the library. But one thing that is much nicer is we now have a search tool. So if you know what book you're looking for, oops, I'm on the wrong library. Which library am I? Oh, there's all the libraries. So if I want to look for my book, Chem Prime, it's here. I can immediately do that, and I can load it here. And now I go straight to that book. So you can search for books just like you search the catalog, and then you can go straight to that book and it loads it for you. Makes it much easier to find things. And something I asked for, which I'm super happy they did, is if I wanted this page, calcium for calcium blockers, I can copy that URL and put it right into the search. Oops. Maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I'll have to go to that library first. Medicine. And maybe this is why it's not ready for prime time yet. The search is supposed to bring up the pages so that way. So this is the newer version. It's a lot more user-friendly, much more robust, and there's no longer a save to your computer. It's just save to the library or save a draft so you can come back later. And then it also has a version history, so that's all good. So these things are up and coming. Version 3 is not accessible by anybody right now. I'm just showing you what's going to be launched in the next couple weeks. This is our new fancy tool that you'll be able to see soon. Yep. We are, anybody who's worked with us for any amount of time, and Amy can attest to this, we are improving everything all the time. So we do improve things quite regularly, and we come out with lots of new features, which I will also just show you. I'll talk about this later this week. But in our connections forum, there is a First Friday features, where every first Friday of the month, Delmar shows a little video of all the new cool things that we've been working on. So if you want to stay up to date with all the new cool things that are happening or on the horizon, then you can feel free to go and log into connections and save that field there. You can always click on the follow button to follow that discussion. So you're there. For this one, Christina, we will definitely be talking about this in the advanced editing sessions. There's an awful lot of really cool tools that we do with editing to make things look great, for printing, for embedding pictures, for embedding a bunch of tools, and combining content from multiple pages into one is a pretty advanced technique, actually. It requires a tiny little bit of HTML knowledge. Not so much that I can't teach anybody. I can still teach anybody that. I'm going to go ahead and end this one. So thank you, everybody.